There is a road in Newton County, Missouri, that locals have been avoiding after dark since at least 1881. Not because of crime, not because of poor pavement, because something appears on it, a glowing orb of light that has been reported by hundreds of independent witnesses across more than 100 years, investigated by the United States Army Corps of Engineers, and never definitively explained. The Army investigated it. They published a report concluding the light was real. They did not explain it. They moved on. The light did not move on. It is still appearing on that road outside the tiny community of Hornet. Locals treat it the way people treat a stubborn neighbor. It has been there longer than anyone alive can remember, and there is no obvious way to make it leave. That is Road 1. There are more. Subscribe right now, or you hit the button and the bell. Road 1, E40 Road, Hornet, Newton County. The Ozark spook light has been documented on this 4-mile stretch near the Missouri-Oklahoma-Kansas corner since at least 1881, decades before automobiles existed to reflect headlights. The light is orange or white, ranges from basketball size to considerably larger, moves, brightens, dims, and appears on schedule enough that locals grew up treating it as a fixture of the landscape. 6 different names exist for it across 6 different communities that have independently encountered it and needed a word for it. University researchers have studied it. The most persistent scientific explanation does not account for the pre-automobile reports. A local man who grew up on E40 Road told a researcher he had seen it 1,000 times and paid it little attention, which is either a sign of impressive equanimity or suggests the light had earned its place as a regular part of life on that road. Road 2, Smollett Road, Douglas County. Along South Spring Creek in Douglas County, where the community of Smollett used to function before fading into the Ozarks hills, locals have documented a red light appearing near the road for over 100 years. A different county, a different set of witnesses, the same general phenomenon. An unexplained light on an Ozarks back road that the community decided, through accumulated experience across generations, not to investigate too closely. A local elder's specific warning was documented and passed down. If you ever see a red light, run. That was said as practical instruction, not dramatic effect. Inside Smollett Cave, still locals also heard rhythmic tapping from underground for years. The sound of cobbling, a shoemaker working in the darkness below the road. Nobody found the cobbler. The red light continues to get reported. Hit the like button, it tells the algorithm this story matters. Road 3. The roads that used to run through Bloodland, Pulaski County. There are no public roads into what was Bloodland. That is somewhat the point. The community was demolished by the United States Army in 1941 to make room for Fort Leonard Wood. Soldiers stationed there have reported unexplained activity in the training areas built over where Bloodland streets used to be since the 1940s. Military personnel are not generally known for embellishing ghost stories. It tends to complicate things professionally. The reports have continued across multiple generations of soldiers. The road through Bloodland no longer exists on any map. The town is gone. Whatever soldiers say they encounter in those training areas is whatever you decide it is. The fact that a community was demolished and its land has been used for military training for 80 years is not whatever you decide it is. That part is documented. Road 4, Monte Knee Road, Rogers, Arkansas. This is a normal-looking road in a normal-looking Arkansas county. What it leads to is a boat ramp on Beaver Lake, maintained by the Army Corps of Engineers, that overlooks the submerged ruins of a resort town that also hosted the only presidential convention in Arkansas history, built by a man who believed civilization was doomed and designed a pyramid to preserve knowledge for future civilizations after humanity destroyed itself. When Beaver Lake drops during dry years, the ruins of Monte Knee emerge from the waterline. Hotel foundations surface. Amphitheater steps appear covered in algae. People drive to the end of Monte Knee Road and watch a dead town slowly reveal itself from the water. Then the lake rises and Monte Knee goes back under. The road is still there. The town comes and goes depending on the rain. Road 5, Highway 7 past Booger Hollow, Pope County, Arkansas. Highway 7 in Arkansas is genuinely scenic. It is also the road past a roadside trading post called Booger Hollow, named for the Ozark folk tradition of hollows haunted by creatures called boogermen that operated for decades. It featured a two-story outhouse that was never functional and existed entirely for photographs, and closed when highway travel patterns changed and people stopped driving slowly enough to stop. The building is still there. The outhouse is deteriorating in the parking lot. The highway goes past it whether you are looking or not, which is something this road shares with most roads in this video. The infrastructure for looking is still there. Most people do not stop. Road 6, the original Route 66 alignment through the Ozarks. Missouri has more intact stretches of the original Route 66 two-lane road than most states the highway passed through, because the Ozarks towns alongside it were not replaced fast enough to require rebuilding the road beneath them. You can drive sections of the 1926 alignment today that have changed little since they were paved. At night, on the isolated sections through the Ozarks hills, the ghost towns the highway left behind are visible in the dark alongside it. Gas stations still standing. Motels collapsed into themselves. Diners with their signs still up and their windows long gone. The road that those towns were built to serve still runs past them. Nobody stops. The road does not care. The Ozarks roads hold more than their surfaces. The Spook Light Road has been reporting that light for 140 years. The Smollett Hollow warned generations of locals about its red light and its underground cobbler. The Monte Knee boat ramp looks down at a drowned presidential convention. The Route 66 alignment runs past its own ruins. The roads into Bloodland were closed by an army that demolished a community to build the 5th largest employer in Missouri. Some of these roads you can drive tonight, some you cannot. All of them hold something the standard map does not show you. The Ozarks has always been better at keeping things than giving them up. Road 3 extended. The roads around the former community of Bloodland, Pulaski County. The community of Bloodland was demolished in 1941 to make room for Fort Leonard Wood. What that means for the road system of Pulaski County is that there are roads on the edge of the military installation that go nowhere in a specific way. Roads that were built to serve a community and now end at a fence. The county roads adjacent to the base perimeter in the area where Bloodland once stood are among the more disorienting drives in Missouri if you know what you are looking for and where you are in relation to what was removed. The church bell from Bloodland's demolished church was relocated to Waynesville before the demolition, where it still stands. The bell is the only thing that made it out. The road that ran through the community did not make it out. It became part of the military installation's internal network or was simply closed. If you drive the county roads near the base perimeter in that section of Pulaski County, you are driving on the edges of a community that the map no longer shows, and that the community's former residents were not permitted to return to after the war ended. The Army built what it needed and does not advertise what was there before. The fence that marks the installation boundary is the only indication that what is behind it has a different history than the other Ozarks land around it. Most people driving past it see a military fence. What the fence is holding back, among other things, is the geography of a town. Road 4, the drive along the Lake of the Ozarks shoreline above Old Lynn Creek. Old Lynn Creek was the county seat of Camden County. It went underwater in 1931 when Baganell Dam was completed and the Lake of the Ozarks filled. The county built a new county seat on higher ground, named it Camdenton, and continued operating. The lake that covers Old Lynn Creek became one of Missouri's most popular recreational destinations. Today, it's driving the Highway 54 corridor along the Lake of the Ozarks. You are driving above a drowned county seat. Below the water visible from the road on certain sections of the lake, visible as still, dark, open water the way lake surfaces are, is the former courthouse, the former churches, portions of the former cemetery, and the foundations of homes that families built and lived in before the federal government created the conditions for a private dam company to flood them. The county's government was moved. The county's history went underwater. The road above the lake is busy with tourist traffic in summer. The watercraft on the lake surface are there for the recreational economy the dam created. 30 feet below them, in the clear Ozarks lake water, is the county seat that was submerged to make the lake possible. None of the signage along Highway 54 mentions this. The lake does not mark it. The road goes past it at whatever speed the traffic allows. Road 5. The route through the Ozarks spook light country at night. The full context. The Hornet spook light on E40 road sits in a specific piece of geography that helps explain, or at least contextualizes, why it has been reported for so long. The road runs through flat terrain in the far southwest corner of Missouri, in country where the sky is wide and the only lights at night are what you bring with you or what the road generates. The tri-state corner where Missouri, Oklahoma, and Kansas meet is genuinely dark at night in ways that urban and suburban Missourians have not experienced since childhood. If then, in that darkness, with no competing light sources, the spook light is visible at distances that would not be possible if you were in a more illuminated environment. Charles Dawes, who grew up on E40 Road and told a researcher he had seen the light 1,000 times, was seeing it in a landscape where 1,000 observations across a lifetime of nights in a dark rural area is a reasonable number. The light appears. It has appeared consistently for 140 documented years. The specific quality of the darkness that makes it visible at the distances it is observed from is the same darkness that makes rural southwest Missouri feel like a different country from the rest of Missouri after sunset. Whether the light is atmospheric, geological, biological, or something else entirely, is a question that has not been resolved by the people who have spent the most time and effort trying to resolve it. The road is still there. The light is still appearing. The darkness is still genuine enough to make the observation possible in ways that urban environments have eliminated from most American lives. The Ozarks roads do not announce what they hold. They run through a landscape that has been absorbing and keeping things for longer than the roads have existed, and the roads are simply the current overlay on a geography that has been accumulating history since before any European person stood in it. The spook light has been appearing since before the road was paved. Bloodland existed before the road through it was built and was demolished before anyone on the current road was born. Old Lynn Creek went underwater before the lakeside highway that runs above it was constructed. And the Welch Spring Hospital ruins were standing before the river trail that leads to them was cut. The roads are the newest thing in the landscape. Everything they run through is older. In the Ozarks, more than most places, the gap between the age of the roads and the age of what the roads pass through is visible if you are paying attention at the right speed. Subscribe if you have not. Hit the bell. Drop a comment. Have you driven any of these roads? At night specifically? Because what the Ozarks roads hold after dark is different from what they hold in daylight, which is a statement most roads cannot make. Thank you for watching. The truth does not shout. It waits for you to look closer, because the Ozarks roads remember what happened on them, even when nobody else does. Thank you for watching. The truth does not shout. It waits for you to look closer,